HD mode. I'll give you guys a treat. Old record player. I'll give you a treat. Let's see what's doing here. I got the city outside. HD mode. Drain the pit. I'm going to remove that clamp. HD mode. Suck that water down. HD. I've never used HD. I actually used the YouTube mode, which is a higher quality setting. More frames per second and better sound. This is HD. Stereophonic sound. Boy. Drain that pit. We're sucking the sand into the motor. Can't be the best thing for the impeller. What I really need is an elastic band to hold this switch up so I can undo my clamp. I got the city outside, ready to turn off the water main. Suck that water down. It's funny how the screen is wider and not as tall. A wide fat load. And I'll tell you about my vacation to Florida. We're getting ready, making plans, reserving a rental car and a hotel room. We're landing in Punta Gorda, which is just a little ways from Fort Myers on the Gulf Coast of Sunshine State, Florida. Now I'm going to turn off the water inside the building. Yep. There's our sandy water. I'm going to turn off the water inside the building so it can't backflow. Oh, nobody's taking a shower. I'm going to tell my man outside the building, turn off the water. If I had my own tool, I would do it myself and not incur any costs and bother the city. They're busy guys. Not to deal with my crappy broken water main. Keep door closed. Can open up the doors and get the apartment building smell out. People making tater tots and hot pockets. Stinking up the joint. Should just eat carrots and boiled cabbage. Close that water down. I got my pit drained and my wrench is ready. It's already off. I'm working on a house. And I got it's an 1820s piece of junk log house. And I got fly problems. So I got fly strips everywhere and they're friggin' full.
Man.
You ever see fly strips that are full of flies?
No, they usually avoid the fly strips.
Well, not these guys. They're busy eating all their friends. I got so many flies. I got 4 or 5 fly strips. I mean, they are friggin' loaded. The best one is when they land on their head and their wings still flap. They're going bzzz. Yep. I had that little fish tank pump made in the USA in there forever and it worked perfectly. Yeah, finally gave up the ghost. So I threw in this made in China one and it lasted about a minute. It started going so the water was spread out through the cabinets. I put in 4 dehumidifiers in this fan. I'll turn that black button off. I don't get this thing blowing on my knee.
What do you want now?
Just turn off the fan.
This right here?
Yeah. This is a cheap Chinese ratchet. And if you ratchet too fast, the little lever reverses and it starts to tighten. I've got a spare clamp and a spare piece of rubber all made up. I suppose the little rubbers just didn't quite catch.
It was a piece we added on, wasn't it? Or was...
Well, I put a little extra piece of rubber inside, the same as I had done on the other one. I had this same problem. With the other one, it's made for a steel pipe. So I added a little piece of rubber to thicken the original rubber, but I had made a mark. Remember I took it off after I put it on to make sure I had it centered on the hole so the pressure would be equal. I've tightened it several times, like a dozen times. I give it a tweak, and it would slow it down for a few minutes or an hour or whatever. Let's start it again.
With a rag or paper towels and wipe that down?
Yeah, I've got a water bottle. The moment of truth. It's leaking upwards. Somebody said I should solder it closed. I said, yeah, it'll hold it. But, Yep, you can see where the water was going up. I got a spray bottle, I'll spray it. Alright, so much for the HD mode. It sucks too much memory. I was down to 2 minutes left. So, I washed off the clamp, and there's where the hole was pushing on the rubber, right there. Right there. So I washed it off in the sink with a little bit of water that I had. I'm just going to put it, I'm going to rotate it.
The thing with the rag, or?
Oh, what the heck? See where it was coming up? I didn't have it twisted quite enough, so I'll mark where the hole is.
I mean, if it's very tight together, you could try to solder it. It wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah. I got a feeling it'll be here for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Oops. I think this will work now that I know what the problem was. I'm going to rotate the clamp like that. Do you ever have instances of type M copper, the thinner wall stuff, springing leaks inside people's houses?
I have seen it removed. I've seen it where they've used it throughout the house on the cold water side also. Yes, I've seen it be too thin and break. Usually when somebody's doing work on it and they have to move the pipe, but then cracks it.
Yeah. I took one joint apart and it was paper thin. It hadn't it hadn't come apart or anything, but it was paper thin.
There's a house on Boynton Avenue that I had trouble in. I live on Boynton. We have 90 pounds of pressure there, so paper thin just doesn't cut it with 90 pounds of pressure.
You'd think that somebody would have thought about the fact when they made that pipe that people would just be using the thin wall for pressure and not for heating as it's intended. You'd think that somebody would have thought about it and said,
Well, they gave the people the choice, and thin wall is for hot side.
well, I thought it was for hot, but only for heating systems that only have a limit of 30 pounds. We usually run at 12 or 15 pounds.
Yeah.
That was my impression about it. The hot side actually...
But people, given the choice, if they don't have a lot of money and they know it will work in the short term, they will use it.
Oh, I've got it here.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. A friend of mine bought a brand new house, and I looked, and it was Type M, Mickey Mouse, red wall. This was probably 15 years ago now, and that was when the copper was cheap, like when 12-2 wire was 20 bucks a roll, and I used to wait for it to go on sale for 18 to save $2. Now it's, how much? 84! So, prices are relative. Like, we're going to Florida in a couple of weeks, so we used to rent a car for 120 bucks a week plus taxes of $150 a week, and they would upgrade us to a minivan. I was just looking online, $550 for a week.
Oh wow.
$420 for like a Chevy Aveo, Hyundai Accent, or whatever the little baby cars are. Prices have tripled. And I searched and searched and searched all the different sites.
The last rental car I ever Rented was an AMC Pacer. That tells you how long ago it was.
AMC Pacer? Yeah, they even had a V8 in the Pacer. They made the hood higher, put a bulge in the hood, and they put the 304 in it.
It's like riding in a fish tank.
Yep, there was actually one around I saw it at the mall a couple of years ago. Some guy was still driving around in a Pacer. Yep. A friend of mine had a Hornet. Good car, straight six, 258, same motor they use in the Jeep forever. They've been using lately in the Jeeps.
That's what my Jeep does.
Yep. Simple. AMC was a simple car. They had the first dual braking system. 1963. Cadillac and American Motors. GM and Ford didn't put it in 67, I think. Maybe Ford was a year or two earlier with their disc brakes. And I should have put that piece of rubber above the clamp on the other side, but it's not that serious. I guess once you're here, if it doesn't work, I can take it apart and redo it. What the heck, huh? I don't know. I had a sock, by the way, over the sump pump, the little one, to keep the debris out because it got clogged a few times. So I found a sock in the laundry room and I just put it over. It was a filter. It worked great.
Yeah.
It was pumping forever. It's pumping for a month. It was trickling out. So go crank her up outside and we'll see what we got.
Okay.
I'm not even going to bother turning the water onto the building. It's still empty on my side. Oh boy, is it going to work? Dehumidifiers. Still damp. There he is. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Maybe it'll leak even worse now. Shouldn't have touched it. Wasn't leaking that bad, just a good freaking trickle. Good strong trickle. Doesn't take him long, just turn that key in the ground. Curb stop, bonum. Won't be long. I suppose if it's not leaking, I won't even hear it. Turn off the dehumidifiers. Well, guess that's a good thing. He's coming back. Turn these babies off. Somebody must have changed that light bulb. It's dim in here. There she blows. I guess it's a good sign that there's no water whatsoever.
That's good.
I even turned on the water in the building to let the air run through because sometimes the air has to escape. Guess that's a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy, everything here is soaking wet. Luckily these cabinets are inside styrofoam, I looked. Otherwise it'd all be ruined or brand new. Alright, you're a man. You're the man.